all the tech people want in on the action now. Like everybody's looking enviously at Elon Musk. Oh my gosh, Elon Musk is going to have so much power because he has so much access to power, they're saying to themselves. And then you got the whole PayPal mafia, right? Peter Thiel, you got David Sachs out there. Bill Ackman is in on the action. That's for real. I mean, Bill was very famous billionaire hedge fund guy, and he was really distraught over what he was seeing on college campuses go on in terms of the anti-Semitism, et cetera. And so Bill Ackman joined the club. Everyone's like in on this. And so even Mark Zuckerberg found that he might actually have to rethink some of his positions. Don't forget, he was just down in Mar-a-Lago having dinner with Donald Trump. We reported on that yesterday. Well, guess who else is getting in on the action? That would be one Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos is suddenly optimistic, really optimistic about this administration. Listen.
Very optimistic that President Trump is serious about this regulatory agenda. Right. And I think he has a good chance of succeeding.
What about the idea that he thinks that the press is the enemy?
Well, I think I'm going to try to talk him out of that idea. I don't think the press is the enemy. And I don't think, he's also...
Oops. Maybe we should have just stopped it where it was. He was doing so well. But, he's got Andrew Ross Sorkin there, who works for CNBC, getting spun off, just like MSNBC, and the New York Times. And New York Times, they really hate Trump. They still hate Trump. That's never going to change. And so they're like, really, really, really? So let's go back and listen to the second part of it. So he started by saying, hey, I'm really optimistic. I think great stuff can happen, especially vis-a-vis all this crazy regulation. Don't forget, Jeff Bezos saw the handwriting on the wall. Jeff Bezos wouldn't allow his opinion editors to make a call in terms of who they believed should win the presidency. And there was the opinion editor that actually resigned over the whole thing, absolutely furious that they couldn't write an op-ed saying, we support Kamala Harris. And he said, you know what? We're not going to do that anymore. We're not going to take that kind of stake. Anyway, let's go back and listen to this little dust up with Andrew Ross Sorkin because, how can you possibly say that Trump might actually be good for things?
What about the idea that he thinks that the press is the enemy?
Well, I think I'm going to try to talk him out of that idea. I don't think the press is the enemy. And I don't think, he's also... You've probably grown in the last 8 years. He has too. This is not the case. The press is not the enemy.
I hope you're right.
I hope I'm right too.
Have you talked?
Let's go persuade him of this. No, let's
have you talked to him about it?
But you and I should go. Let's go talk to him.
If we could try.
I really don't. I think that this is absolutely. I don't think he's going to see it the same way. But maybe I'll be wrong.
Was that always your thought, by the way?
What I've seen so far is that he is calmer than he was the first time and more confident, more settled.
I think, I'm going out on a limb here, I think it's going to be kind of hard to convince Donald Trump at this point that the press is not the enemy because you saw what the press did. You saw the 51X spooks signing their name to a letter saying, no, that Hunter Biden laptop, that's nothing but misinformation, disinformation. That's from the Russians. When it turned out, no, that Hunter Biden laptop was pretty real. So real that now Hunter Biden had to get pardoned over it. There was that. There was, the virus didn't come from Wuhan. Like, how could it possibly have come from the laboratory where they were actually working on this gain-of-function research? And then it turned out, what do you know? The consensus among the majority of three-letter agencies is, sure enough, yeah, it came from Wuhan. I mean, there was moment after moment after moment. It's really exhausting, exhausting. I mean, there's probably hundreds of these, of examples, and the press is telling you one thing that seems to be coming straight from the narrative of the Biden White House, or formerly the Obama White House. They're in the tank with the left, and they're only perpetuating it. There's no individuality. There is no sort of, let me look at this from my own perspective. Let me just sell an agenda. Well, if you're selling an agenda that may be at odds with the American people, then yeah, I think you're kind of an enemy of the people. I'm not saying everybody is, but a lot of them, for goodness sakes. What do you think Rev Sharpton is? Rev Sharpton over there on MSNBC, who gets a paycheck from the Kamala Harris campaign for $500,000, his organization, just days before he sits down with her on MSNBC to do this big media interview. Yesterday, we reported, go back and look at that story, on Ana Navarro over on The View, who was somehow talking to Biden about his son getting pardoned while simultaneously doing a speaking event at the Biden Institute. Those things are paid. So what is she, like a paid consultant for Biden? Apparently. That would be my guess. How else do you interpret that news? And then you, of course, have Oprah. Oh, my goodness gracious. Oprah's like the queen of the whole thing, getting paid, according to the New York Times, $2.5 million to do that interview with Kamala Harris. They need an audit of that campaign. The media is just so in the tank. And that's the way they want it, you see? Just go over to the Clinton Global Initiative. Hillary Clinton, weeks before the election, this was in late October of 2024, saying, yep, we need the mainstream media to be like in line with anti-Trump stuff. Here she is.
The press needs a consistent the press that's not supporting Trump blatantly, very persistently, the press that's trying to be the press, be objective, be, reporting the facts.
I'm sorry. They were never reporting the facts, okay? When the New York Times is trying to tell me that wages are going up, but refuses to look at real wages adjusted for inflation. Wages were going down. Real wages were going down, but they're trying to spin it by not telling you the whole story. That is not a press that is unbiased. That is an agenda. When you hear Mika Brzezinski going on to The View and saying, this is fascism, we're going to have fascism. When you hear Joe Scarborough saying that he's akin, Donald Trump, to Hitler, what do you think that really is? You want to tell me that that's an unbiased media? I'm sorry, Hillary Clinton, they're just, I guess, waiting for their next paycheck from CGI. Let's listen to the rest of it.
The press needs a consistent narrative about the danger that Trump poses. Because,
Such a danger, right? Such a danger. This is what they're going on and on and on about. You want to know what's a danger? I'll tell you what's a danger. When you have 700 and something illegal migrants wandering around New York City, nearly 60,000 of whom are known criminals. That's a danger. You know what else is a danger? When you cannot afford them. When you spend $151 billion, as Doge, thankfully, has just told us, on immigration challenges like housing and food, etc., to welcome all of these people who are here illegally, which is roughly half the amount in inflation-adjusted dollars that you spent on World War I. That's a danger. Money you don't have, thrown out the window to take care of people that you can't take care of. Many of whom are criminals. I mean, these are dangers. You know what else is a danger? Not having the wherewithal, the common sense to understand that if you're going to sanction Russia and you're going to therefore cut off all the natural gas and energy that could be flowing out of that and then say, well, simultaneously, we're not going to drill in the United States of America. That's a danger because guess what? You're going to make it hard on American families by driving up inflation. These are the real dangers. Americans know that, okay? And that is why they gave you the middle finger. Twice, Hillary Clinton. Twice. I mean, there was the time that you ran, and then there was 2024. You did all you could to campaign for Kamala. And they still said, no, thanks. I don't want that. No, thanks. I get it. No, thanks. We're not signing up for that.